Welcome back, dear children. We left in this slide, isn't it? But being blind is so frightening. My headaches all the time just from worrying that I will get hurt. Right? Where are we now? She's asking. Where are we now? In the playground, I said. We are walking towards the house. Miss Beam is walking up and down the garden with a tall girl. What is the girl wearing? My little friend asked. A blue cotton skirt and a pink blouse. A blue cotton skirt and a pink shirt. Right? I think it is Millie, she said. What color is her hair? Very light, I said. Yes, that's Millie. She's the head girl. There is an old man tying up roses, I said. Yes, that's Peter. So she's identifying each and every one. She's trying to identify. Yes, that's Peter. He is the gardener. He has hundreds of years old. And here comes a girl with curly red hair. She's on crutches. That's Anita, she said. Right? And so we walked on. Gradually, I discovered that I was 10 times more thoughtful than I ever thought I could be. I also realized that if I had to describe people and things to someone else, it made them more interesting to me. Okay, so you have to think a lot when you are blind. Observation, what sound is coming, which side it is coming, what it was supposed to be, everything you have to analyze. Thought. So brain works a lot when you are blind. When I finally had to leave, I told Miss Beam that I was very sorry to go. Ah, she replied, then there is something in my system after all. There is something in my system. What is it? To make the children understand practically how the handicapped or blind or a deaf life, person's life, and how misfortune they are, and how fortunate you are, how and how far is the world, and how many difficulties they are facing. Everything will be understood by the child on their own. Okay, it is not just teaching, it is an experience, right? So she replied, Miss Beam replied, there is something in my system after all, right? So this is a small story written by E.V. Lucas. Say they don't need any sympathy. Differently abled people don't need any sympathy, but they need equal opportunities. They are in search of opportunities. Everybody is competent. Differently abled people are as competent and as talented as others, sometimes more talented than us. You could have heard about Helen Keller and other people, right? They have done exceptionally well. History has proved that differently abled people have done exceptionally well in all spheres, right? You know who is this, right? So let us have the summary of the story. Yeah, this is a story of a school where the children were taught to sympathize with and help each other. The writer had heard a lot about Miss Beam's school. They said that she was using new methods of teaching to make the children better citizens. The writer wanted to see it all by himself. So He had gone to visit Miss Beam's school. As the author entered the school, he saw a girl whose eyes were covered with a bandage. She was being led carefully between the flower beds by a little boy. The author then came to Miss Beam, who told him that her teaching methods were very simple. However, there was only one thing which was different. What is it? The real aim of this school, she said, is not so much to teach thought as thoughtfulness and kindness to others. Not so much to teach thought as thoughtfulness and kindness to others. That is the real aim of this school. The author looked out of the window and he was a little pained. Actually, he saw that although there were in the open field so many happy children, they were not all so healthy and active looking. He saw two more girls with their eyes bandaged. And then there was a third with a crutch watching others at play. The author was surprised when Miss Beam told him that the girl with the crutches was not lame. Actually, the author felt very bad by seeing the blind and the lame. Again, the girls with their eyes bandaged were having no trouble in their eyes. That was an important part of their teaching system. To make children appreciate and understand misfortune, the school made them share in misfortune. The children are bandaged or made lame so that they understand what this misfortune really is. Then others are told to help them so that they learn to help those who are in misfortune. So every term, each and every term, every child had one lame day, one blind day, one deaf day, one injured day, and one dumb day. This was a game that every child in the school had to play. Miss Beam led the author to a bandaged girl and left him with her for some time so that he also will understand what it is actually. The author found that the girl appreciated the help she got from others but was determined to be better helper when it would be her chance to do so. See, what are the difficulties she faced when she was blind? What are the helps she needs when she was blind? All that she will try to do when she was a helper. Right? She told the writer that the blind day was the hardest day. It was so because the movement became difficult. The blind always worried about getting hurt. They would dodge things that were not there. That means they will assume that the things were there and something will happen. They will go and hurt themselves. All that imaginations and assumptions will be there. The author led the girl for a short walk. After that short walk, he found that he had already become 10 times more thoughtful than before. 10 times more thoughtful than before. He also realized the pleasure of describing things and people. So, being a helper, he has to describe things, what is coming next, who is passing through, who's playing, everything he has to describe. So, he found the pleasure, he realized the pleasure. These things had become more interesting for him by doing so. Right? So, that's a summary. And now working with this text, page number 62. Put these sentences from the story in the right order. It is jumbled sentence and you have to make it right and write it as a paragraph. You should not refer the text, baby. Take your classwork. Right? I shall be so glad when today is over. Having a leg tied up and hopping about on a crutch is almost fun, I guess. I don't think I'll mind being deaf for a day, at least not much, but being blind is so frightening. Only you must tell me about things. Let's go for a little walk. The other bad days can't be half as bad as this. So you have to jumble this. Let's go for a little walk. Only you must tell me about things. I shall be so glad when today is over. The other days can't be half as bad as this. Having a leg tied up and hopping about on a crutch is almost fun, I guess. I don't think I'll mind being deaf for a day. At least not much. But being blind is so frightening. This is the answer. So check your answer after finding. Answer the following question. This has to be written in your classwork. Just a discussion. You can write on your own. Right? Why do you think the writer visited Miss Beam's school? The writer had heard much about Miss Beam's new teaching method. So he visited her school to see the new playway method personally. What was a game that every child in the school had to play? Every child in the school had to play the role of being blind, deaf, dumb, injured, and lame once in a term. It was a sort of game and training. Each term, every child has one blind day, one lame day. So complete the line, dear. And which is the hardest? Why was it the hardest? Each term, every child has one lame day, one blind day, one lame day, one injured day, and one dumb day. Being blind was the hardest day. The student felt that he or she was going to be hit by something every moment. What was the purpose of these special days? The purpose of these special days was to give the children a personal taste of misfortune. They learned to help the needy in society. Such training made them a good citizen. So now that's it. Question answers are over. Now match the words. Homesick, wanting to be home. Practically, almost. It pains me, it hurts me. Appreciate, understanding the difficulties. Thoughtless, not very caring. Exercise, test the strength of. Relief, a welcome change. Ghastly, terribly. Terrible. Right? I hope you'll understand the meaning. Just it is given there in the tableau column and you have to fix it. Reword these lines from the story. I had heard a great deal about Miss Beam's school. The answer is the writer had heard people praising the teaching methods at Miss Beam's school. Right? Miss Beam was all that I had expected, middle-aged, full of authority. Now here the writer found Miss Beam a middle-aged and dominating woman. I went to the window which overlooked a large garden. The author looked out of the window and saw a large garden. We cannot bandage the children's mouths, so they really have to exercise their willpower. The children had to use their willpower to keep themselves very quiet. So this is the exercise, and given below is a page from dictionary. You could see the page in your book and find a word which means the same as and write down the word and its two meanings. Terrible, causing fear, and very bad. Term, a fixed length of time or a part of the school year. Test, you are going to write term 1 exam, right? So term is a part of the school year. Test, to look at something to see if it is correct or it will work properly. And the next meaning is to ask someone question. That is also called as test only. Right? So now make list of all these things you can write on your own, dear. Now these are all the extra questions that I am giving you. Describe the appearance of Miss Beam. What did Miss Beam teach the children at her school? What was the real aim of Miss Bean's school. Thank you, dear.